Now we are in the fourth session of your subject, performance evaluation and management, is policies of performance evaluation. This is very important part of the performance evaluation and management. Before starting the session, these are the learning outcomes of the today's session. After studying this session successfully, you should be able to describe the requirement of well-defined PE policies. We are going to discuss about the what is performance evaluation policies. Basically, it is under the HR policies. Very important part of performance evaluation as a key function of human resource management. We should formulate the policies of performance evaluation. Then we will discuss the possible alternatives on the issues. There are four main issues we are going to discuss on whom PE can be done and when we should do the performance evaluation and on who should do the performance evaluation, and finally, how often should do the performance evaluation. You should have a clear idea about these areas after completing this session successfully. What are the HR policies, human resource policies? Under the human resource management subject, it is very popular term, the policies of human resource management. It means the HR policies. Creating well-defined policies are the very important part of managing your employees at the organization. Policies, before moving to the HR policies, you should know about the policies. The policies mean basically the guidelines that guided to your action. Basically, the policies guided your action. Policies generally we can define as the guidelines to your actions. What your way to act, before that you think about, you have concern about that. Therefore, policies can be defined as the guidelines to think and act. In other definition for the policies, general guidelines that regulate organizational actions. It means if there is a regular guideline, common guideline, what you should do and how you should do that, that is guided by your policies. The policies are the commonly affected for all the members of the organization. Therefore, anyone take the decision, they should follow the policies. It means the person follow the policies. As the results of that, all the organization's actions are guided by the policies. The final results of that is the regulate organizational actions. Anyone take actions, it is aligned with the organizational policies. The role of organizational policy is providing guidelines. The results of, if the organization have well-defined policies that resulted, the regulate organizational actions. The basic purpose of policy is to provide directions, how you should do that, how you must take decision. That is guided by the policy. The main purpose of policies, therefore, the main purpose of the policy is to provide directions to your think and actions. What is the HR policies? HR, basically human resource. It means the human resource management, managing your people at the organization. You already know about the policies. What is policies? Are the general guidelines that regulate the organization actions. That actions lead into managing its people. Therefore, HR policies can be defined as the continuing guidelines on the approach of which an organization plans to adapt in managing people of the organization. The continuing guidelines, it may provide guidelines that may not continuously changing. If someone take the decision as the policy decision, it may not change for some period of time. After reviewing and renewal time, that may change, but if the policy is changing timely time continuously, it is not good quality of the policy. Therefore, the continuing guidelines on what the organization plans to adapt, organizations hope to act on that decision in what to manage its people. It means managing people. That's why we call HR policies. Some organizations have other areas also. They may have policies, the production policies, marketing policies. Under the HR policies, there are several policies. Under the HRM functions, you aware about the recruitment. Who, at what type of people we should hire, recruit for our organization. That is, the answer for that problem is provided by the recruitment policy or hiring policy. How we should be aware about the organization to the new employee, that is orientation or induction policy of the organization. As well as one of the key HRM function is performance evaluation. Now you can understand what is the performance evaluation policy, PE policies. Any organizations attempt to do the performance evaluation successfully, they should formulate the clear and appropriate policies in respect of various issues involved in performance evaluation. That policies guided to the people how they should act on the issues. When the organization going to do when the organization going to evaluate the employees of performance of the employee, there are some issues. Before implementing, before going to evaluate, the management should take the decision regarding that issues. What are the main issues when the organization goes to do the performance evaluation? There are 4 major issues we can identify on whom should do the performance evaluation can be done. The second issue is when should performance evaluation can be done. The third one, who should do the performance evaluation. As the final issue, how often should do the performance evaluation. Actually, the performance evaluation policies should address these main 4 issues. When we move to the first issue. It is on whom should do the performance evaluation be done. When we consider the organization, there are various types of employees can be identified. It is depending on the organization as well as the nature of the work of the organization, their goals. Some service providing organizations, there are several employees, but some production organizations, they may produce the physical product. They may have different types of employees. Before doing the performance evaluation, we should identify what type of employees we are going to evaluate. What are the main types of employees we can identify regarding the organization? The permanent employees only. Some organizations employed only the permanent employees, but some organizations have different types of employees according to the agreement between employer and employee regarding their time of the agreement. We can identify there are two main types of employees, permanent employees and the temporary employees. For the permanent employees mean they may not have, actually the permanent employee have not the specified in time of the employment. After this year, your agreement will terminate. That is not the permanent employee. There is no specified end time or end date of the contract of employment or agreement. That is that type of employee we categorize under the permanent employees. If the organization may decide they only evaluate the performance of permanent employees, but if there is another type of employees working in the same organization that may not result, they cannot achieve all the purposes of performance evaluation. But some organizations, considering the cost factor or timing factor, they may decide permanent employees. They are only evaluate the employees who are in the permanent of the organization. But some organizations may add temporary employees as well. The second option is permanent and temporary employees can evaluate. For the temporary employees of the organization, the work for a specific length of time period, it means in their contract of employment, it is specifically mentioned you are hired for this specific time period. This is the end date of your contract of employment. After completing that time period, the employment will end. All the employees, including casual employees, are the third option. The organization can evaluate the performance of the employee. Who are the casual employees? This is another situation in which an organization or employee is only guaranteed working when it is needed. Assume that the university is renovating in this time period. For that renovation, university should hire the carpenters. But that carpenters cannot employed permanently in our university, because that is not required to achieve our organizational goals and objectives. The employer, it means university, may not have intention to continuity of the employment with the carpenters. If we needed that service, we can hire, but the both parties are aware about at the end of the requirement, their employment will end. When university evaluate the performance of the employees, we can evaluate that type of employees, including that type of employees as well. That is another option. According to management hierarchy, we can categorize our employees in other ways. That is managerial employees and non-managerial employees. Some organizations, as per the cost and time factor, they may decide only evaluating the managerial employees and non-managerial employees. Sometimes some organizations can select the group of employees and they evaluate only that group of employees' performance. It means in our university, we started another branch for postgraduate studies. After 10 years of establishing that branch, we want to aware or know about their performance. For that, we can evaluate the employees who are working only with that postgraduate branch. That is the group of employees selected, specifically selected for the specific purpose. But before going to do the performance evaluation, the management should decide we are only evaluating on this type of employees only. The second, a policy decision has to be taken regarding which employees to be evaluated. Is most appropriate. All the employees of the organization are evaluated. If we evaluate only the permanent employees, we cannot take correct decisions about the temporary employees or casual employees. If we evaluate the managerial employees, we may have enough evidence regarding how managers are taking decisions, but we may not have the enough information how that decision was implemented. It means we will not evaluate our non-managerial employees' performance. Therefore, the both purposes can achieve by evaluating all the types of employees. It means the managerial management purposes and the informative purposes can be achieved by evaluating all the employees of the organization, including permanent employees, casual employees, temporary employees, as well as the managerial employees and non-managerial employees. All the employees are the best option when we considering about on whom should do the performance evaluation. The second issue of the performance evaluation is when should do the performance evaluation can be done. There is no specific schedule for evaluating all types of employees. When we considering about the financial accounting, they should prepare the financial statements at the end of the financial year. But in HR, there is no specific schedule at this time. At this day, you should do the performance evaluation, you should keep record on by using this format or performance evaluation forms. Before this day, you should submit the performance evaluation results. There is no the specific schedule for the HR, but in financial accounting, there is guidelines. Therefore, in the as the organizational requirement, we can decide when should do the performance evaluation, but it is necessary to decide when should do the performance evaluation as per the organizational requirement. When we considering this issue, there are several options. We can identify the main three approach when should do the performance evaluation. The first one is fixed time approach. The second one is arbitrary date approach, and the last one is job cycle approach. The first approach is fixed time approach. It's alternatively called unitary time approach. Unitary time approach. In this approach, employee performance are evaluated within a certain period of time. That may one particular day, or 1 week, or 2 weeks, 1 month. But it is decided at this time period, we are evaluating our employees' performance. That certain time, during that certain time period, we are evaluated our employees' performance. Generally, the period of time, that time is decided when the evaluator is not too busy at other works. When we considering about the apparel industry organization, there may be 2 different time slots. That means they are very busy at the production, and another several months they may not busy like the previous season. Generally, to do the performance evaluation, it is better at the time period where they are not busy at the production or any other works. If we decided that certain time period within the busy time period, the managers and employees may not have enough time to concentrate or sacrifice their time to do the performance evaluation. If the evaluator's span of control, it means the number of subordinators directly reporting to the evaluator, it is the considerable factor to decide what time period we are going to select, or we are going to do the performance evaluation. If one manager have 10 subordinators, that may enough one day to do the performance evaluation. But some supervisors in the production department, they may have 100 employees. That may not enough to complete all the 100 performance evaluation forms at the single or one day. Therefore, they may decide that certain time period is 1 week, or sometime it may be 2 weeks. Likewise, the fixed time approach is that. Normally, there are 5 employees. All the employees are in, we have to continue the same example to these three approaches. There is a garment manufacturing, there is a school, there are 5 teachers. All the 5 teachers' performances are evaluated at the end of the year. It means the last week of the year in this approach. The second, these are the advantages and disadvantages. Administration, firstly, advantages. Administration of evaluation is relatively more convenient. It means the printing of performance evaluation forms, distributing and record keeping. Sometimes there are some problems relating to the filling performance evaluation forms that may easily solve because all the managers and employees are involving that particular time period to do the performance evaluation. Therefore, the administration part of the performance evaluation is relatively more convenient. The evaluation is done within a time period when evaluator is generally freed from another matters. There is no standard time to do the performance evaluation. Therefore, the management can decide the certain time period where they are not busy at other works. That is another advantage of this method, this approach. The third one is comparison of evaluation. In our example, there are 5 teachers evaluated at the same time, last week of the year. Therefore, we can compare who is the best performer of this year. It is very important to comparison of evaluation among the different employees is relatively easy because that performance of that certain time period, it means the performance period from January 1st of January to the 31st of December, all the factors are equally affected to the organizational factors are equally affected to the all 5 teachers. Therefore, we can compare the performances of all the 5 employees. There are some disadvantages as well. It's required the evaluator to spend a lot of time in filling forms and conducting feedback interviews. It means in this approach, if the management decide last week of the year to do the performance evaluation, the immediate superior should do the evaluation. It means the evaluator is immediate superior. In the production department, under the production manager, there are 10 supervisors. The production manager should fill 10 performance evaluation forms by following the performance evaluation procedure. It may easy because they may have only 10 employees. Under each employees, under each supervisor, they may have the direct reporting employee. Number of direct reporting employees are 100. It means when we considering supervisor 1 should fill 100 performance evaluation forms. Therefore, to filling that 100 performance evaluation form, it may take considerable time to fill that performance evaluation forms. During that time period, another task cannot be done because there is a large work to do to fill the performance evaluation, to fill 100 performance evaluation forms. And sometime there may be participate performance evaluation or performance feedback interviews. Then if there is 100 forms to fill, the evaluator want to just finish it. They may not concern about the purposes of performance evaluation. What they want to do is just finish this task. It is not actively involving to complete that task. As the result of that, it may have incomplete and inaccurate evaluation, sometimes maybe happen. The second approach is arbitrary data approach. The first approach is fixed time approach. It's alternatively called unitary time approach. The second approach is arbitrary data approach. Alternative terms for that is multiple time approach. In this approach, evaluation of job performance of all the employees under the evaluator is done at different dates. It's easy to remember the multiple time approach. Fixed time at the last week of the year. Multiple time, there is no fixed time period, certain time period or certain date to complete to do the performance evaluation. That is multiple time approach. Generally, an employee's performance is evaluated on the date of employees was hired. It means the anniversary date. In our previous example, there are 5 teachers working in a school. As according to the fixed time approach, their performances are evaluated at the last week of the year. In here, there are 5 school teachers, the same. We can name as A, B, C, D, and E. When we considering about the teacher A, whose hiring date is 1st of January 2010. The anniversary date is 1st of January. Their evaluation, therefore, the performances of employee A, teacher A, is evaluated at the 1st of January of each and every year. But the teacher B, it means the second employee of the school, was hired at the 8th of February 2012. The anniversary date is the February 8th. Therefore, the employee B will be evaluated 8th of February every year. The third employee, employee C, teacher C, was hired March 10th of March. The anniversary date is the 10th of March. They will be evaluated, or that teacher will be evaluated the 10th of March every year. The fourth employee was hired at the 1st of April. The anniversary date is 1st of April. Therefore, the teacher D will be evaluated at the 1st of April. Last employee was hired at the 1st of December. Therefore, their anniversary, the teacher's anniversary date is 1st of December. The teacher will be evaluated at the 1st of December every year. The different or multiple time the performance evaluation will be done. There are some advantages as well as some disadvantages. It does not require spending a lot of time in evaluating, because most of the day they should fill or fill one or two performance evaluation forms. Most of the days of the year, they don't want to fill the performance evaluation form. Therefore, that does not require considerable time to do the performance evaluation. Sometimes it may lead to the evaluator want to just finish it. It means if you are the evaluator, you want to evaluate only one employee, you may actively involve on the evaluation, and you can evaluate in a correct way by putting your effort. But there are some disadvantages as well. Comparison of evaluation of different employees is relatively difficult, because there are different dates when we considering about our example. During the year, they should involve the performance evaluation continuously. There are different dates, different time period. Therefore, we cannot compare one person with another person, because sometimes the employee A will be was evaluated at the particular day, but another employees are not yet evaluated for this year. The second disadvantage is performance evaluation may be unfair and inaccurate owing to the organizational and environmental causes. Because the best example in this year, in this time period, corona pandemic, the most of the organizations is inactive. Therefore, during this time period, the performance evaluation is highly depending on the organizational performance. The organizational performance is most of the organization is at the lowest level. Therefore, the superior will give the lowest rate to the employee's performance. But that is uncontrollable factor to the employee, that environmental causes. The third one is evaluator has to do performance evaluation while performing other matters. It means when we can compare with the previous one, there is a certain time period. During that time period, the managers or superior or evaluator can actively involve, because they are allocated to do the performance evaluation. But in here, there is no separate time period. They should involve the production matters of the organization, marketing matters of the organization. At the same time, they should do the performance evaluation. Another approach is job cycle approach. It means you already aware about the job cycle. The job cycle is the required time to complete every duties in the job. For one, in this approach, evaluation is more suitable, because during the employee job cycle, they may involve all the major duties of their work. Under this approach, performance evaluation is done after an employee finish all the duties of the uh, job. In our previous example, there are 5 teachers, A, B, C, D, and E. Out of these 5 teachers, first 3 teachers are teach to the O-level classes. Other 2 teachers are teaching to the A-level classes. The first 3 teachers start their semester 1st of January. Their semester will end at the 30th of June. During that semester, their major duties are preparing notes, delivering lectures, preparing examination papers, conducting examinations, and the evaluation. All these duties are performed during the semester. At the last date of the semester, the performance evaluation can be done. That is job cycle approach. But another A-level teachers, they may start their semester at the 1st of September. They may end their semester at the end of the February. Therefore, at the end of the February, we can evaluate those 2 teachers who are teaching for the A-level classes. We can evaluate. That is job cycle approach. And at this approach, we are not considering about their anniversary date. These are the main advantages and disadvantages of the job cycle approach. It makes more sense to schedule the evaluation at the completion of tasks. At the end of the semester, the superior and all the parties of the organization, they may have proper aware about the evaluation, and they can actively involve because they already completed their major duties of the job. That's the main advantage of the job cycle approach. But this approach cannot be applied when the job has not the clear job cycle. For some time, there is a job cycle, but it is very short time period. As example, the institution driver, their job cycle can be considered as the one trip. After each and every trip, it is not practical to do the performance evaluation. Then the third issue of performance evaluation is who should do the performance evaluation? Who is the appropriate person to do the performance evaluation? In here also there are several alternatives. Alternative parties can be evaluated or can be do the performance evaluation. These are the alternative parties. They can do the evaluation. Immediate superiors and superiors, one by one we will discuss in our next few slides. The first option is immediate superior. It means In organizational hierarchy, most of the employees have immediate superior. It means they are reporting another top person directly to the top person who is the immediate superior. As example, in our government manufacturing organization, there are 10 supervisors who are directly reporting to the production manager. When we considering about the supervisor, production supervisor, who is the immediate superior is production manager. Under each supervisor, there are 100 employees. When we considering about the production supervisor, one, there are 100 employees. When we considering about that 100 employees work group, who is the immediate supervisor? Immediate superior is supervisor one. When performances are evaluated by the immediate superior, it is advantageous because immediate superior is the person is well known about the employee performance, how employees are performing their job. But some disadvantages as well. Entire control of the evaluation rests with the immediate superior. In here, only one party is doing the performance evaluation. That one opinion may not be correct, but if we use the immediate superior, the opinion about the employee's performance of with the immediate superior, that may mainly affected to the performances of the subordinate. The subordinate may feel threatened because the superior often has the reward and punishment power. Due to that reason, the employees may not actively involving to do the performance evaluation. Under the first chapter, we already discussed the employees is one major party who should committed to do the performance evaluation successfully. But in here, the superior have the reward and punishment power. The subordinate may feel this performance evaluation may affect directly to my rewards and punishment. They may not disclose their actual information regarding their performances. If the evaluation process is one way, the subordinate may feel not defensive. It means that evaluation is, or that judgment is only with the one party. If the immediate superior with the wrong perception about the employee's performance, that may negatively affected to the employee. There is no defensive mechanism. Sometimes some superiors may not often to the justification. That those are the disadvantages. The superior may lack the necessary interpersonal skills to give the good feedback. It is another disadvantage. If the production manager have not the good interpersonal skills, he or she cannot give the performance feedback in a correct way. That may threaten to continuity of the employment. The superior may have ethical bias against paying God. It means the superior, that evaluation is depending on the two parties. Some employees are biased to the superior. Some superiors are biased to the selected employees only. That may lead to the unfair uh, evaluation. By giving punishment, the superior may alienate the subordinate, because the superior have the punishment and rewarding power. To reduce our previous disadvantages, but the immediate superior is doing the performance evaluation, we can use this option. Immediate superior and immediate superior's superior do the performance evaluation. In our example, 100 employees working under the supervisor. Supervisor is working under the production manager. If we take one employee, production employee, who is evaluated by the supervisor, that evaluation is examined by the production manager. Immediate superior examines the evaluation of subordinates done by the immediate superior. Evaluation is done by the supervisor, that is examined by the production manager. In our example, the immediate superior's evaluation is subject to a post evaluation of another superior. Mean, after doing the performance evaluation is done by the supervisor, that performance evaluation is supervised by the first evaluation by the production manager. Compared with the first source, it means the performance evaluation is done by the immediate superior. The source of the degree of accuracy will be more. Two evaluators are involved to the evaluation. Therefore, the biasness and the effect of only one or single opinion can reduce by using this method. The third option is several superiors. In here, several superiors, in our example, there is a production employee whose performance are evaluated by the immediate superior, it means supervisor. But that is not the only part of the performance evaluation. That evaluation is done by the immediate superior separately. It means the production employee performances are evaluated by the supervisor as well as the production manager. Sometimes that production employees working under the separate branch, as our example, who is working under the garment manufacturing organization in Colombo branch, that branch manager is also involved to do the performance evaluation. But in here, the main barriers to implement this option is the time factor, time limitation. If we are going to evaluate one employee by the several superior, it means the immediate supervisor, production manager, branch manager, or sometimes it may be involved to the HR manager, several superiors. They may take more time to complete the performance evaluation. But the positive side of this option has greater degree of accuracy, because there are several superiors involved to do the performance evaluation. They can take the correct feedback from the several ways. The next method, next option to who should do the performance evaluation is committee, is another option. Committee means it is also involve the several superiors, or sometimes that committee may include the peers. We'll discuss who are the peers. Committee, it is possible to do the performance evaluation of an employee by a committee. It means what's the difference between the several superiors and the committee? The several superiors are individually evaluated the employee's performance, but in here they follows the group meeting format. It means the shared information. There are some group meetings among the several superiors or the appointed committee. Then they do the performance evaluation. This approach main advantage is the greater accuracy. The next option is outsider. Outsider who are not with the organization. In our previous option, all the parties are from the organization, but in here, the outside party may take the performance evaluation. Why we take that outsider? Because of their specialization. Usually this outsider is personal specialist. Specialist mean who have deeper knowledge and understanding about the performance evaluation. To get their expertise, we can use the outsider. The main advantage is performance evaluation, the degree of accuracy will be high, but the outsider may not have sound understanding about the actual performance of the employee, because who are not with the organization, they may not aware about the organizational performance and the organizational requirement. That may lead to the unsuccessful performance evaluation. Another issue of this option, if we hire another outsider to do the performance evaluation, we should support by providing internal information. Sometimes it may be immediate superior. We hire outsider to do the performance evaluation, but on the other hand, we should take party by providing our organizational information. That is another barrier. If we hire or if we take this service from the outsider, the cost is also will be high. This is another option to do the performance evaluation is done by peers. Peers mean who are working in the same according to their rank and works. In our previous example, the 5 school teachers who are the peers of teacher A, all other 4 teachers. It means the B, C, D, and E. For this source work successfully because the peers may have better understanding about the job performance of all the co-workers. Therefore, they may well known about their peers. They may have ability to evaluate their peers. This approach is more applicable when the employee who are working with the requirement with working contacts among the peers. In the branch of the bank, they should contact to solve the customer requirement, to provide service to the customer. That is very important. Therefore, we can apply at this approach like the branch of the bank. But this evaluation information may not be useful to the administrative purposes like promotions and pay increment, because the peers evaluation may be based on their jealousy and the biasness. That information may not correct. On the other hand, peers may not expect what organizations require. What the peers expect from the peers, other co-workers, basically it's depending on the interpersonal requirement, not based on the organizational requirement. That information may not correct. There is another limitation. The performance evaluation may done by the peers. Another option is subordinate. In our example, there are production department under the production manager. There are 10 supervisors under the production manager. The subordinators of the production manager is 10 supervisors. The performances of production manager is evaluated by the 10 supervisors. Feedback of subordinates will help to identify the leaders or superiors' strengths and weaknesses from the point of subordinates. It is mostly the area of leadership. By using this evaluation, the production manager can preview their leadership quality, leadership skills, and their motivation ability. Why the supervisor A is evaluated, my performance is at the low level. There may be limitations or bad points of the leadership and the motivation or human relations. In here also, the subordinates may expect some qualities from the leaders, but that is not required to the organizational success. That may less affected to the organizational success. But that may highly concern by the employee. At that time, the evaluation is based on the employee expectation, not the organizational requirement. That is another limitation of this approach. On the other side, the superior have the reward and punishment power. If the superior may know about what the evaluator, it means there is no namelessness. The evaluator, it means they are subordinators may not going to do the performance evaluation genuinely, because that feedback may affect to their rewards and punishment. Another option to do the performance evaluation is done by the customer or client. Most of the customer based jobs can be evaluated by the customer. So client may be the appropriate source of doing performance evaluation of some employees. As example, front officer or bank teller is evaluated on the communication skills and customer relations, and the efficiency of service can be evaluated by their customer. It means customer of the bank. School teachers or teachers, when we considering about the teacher, the customer is, or client are the student are the clients. Teachers' performances are evaluated by the student. In here also, it is better to get the feedback from the customer, but the customer expectations is with the customer, that's not with the organization. Therefore, customer may require to satisfy their customer, but that may not fill the organizational requirement. At that time, this source or performance evaluation done by the customer may not suitable for all the types of jobs of the organization. Another very important option to do the performance evaluation is the self-evaluation. It means the employee themselves do the performance evaluation. This self-evaluation is very important or appropriate to identify training needs of the organization, employee, and the development purposes. If the employee is evaluated themselves, they can identify these are the expected performance from me, but these are the actual performance. They can identify their differences between actual performance and the expected performance. But this approach is not suitable for the administrative purposes like promotion and rewards, because this evaluation, if the employee is aware about the performance evaluation information is highly related to the rewards and promotions, they may evaluate as the high performance to get, with the purpose of to get the higher salary and to get the promotion. The last option who should do the performance evaluation is combination. Combination means what we discussed up to this point, there are several options. By using this option, two or several options to do the performance evaluation is the combination. This is most practical and the very important source of do the performance evaluation, because we can acquire the advantages of all the methods by reducing disadvantages of all the sources. But the main limitation of the combination method is it required the greater time period to do the performance evaluation because several parties are evaluating their job performance. Then the last issue of the performance evaluation, how often should do the performance evaluation? This is another timing issue of performance evaluation. It is also should be decided before doing the performance evaluation in terms of the formulating clear policy. The performance evaluation can be carried out in here. Also, there are some alternatives: annual evaluation, semi-annual evaluation, quarterly, monthly, bi-weekly, weekly, or daily evaluation can be applied to solve this issue. But before doing the performance evaluation, the management should clearly decide how often we are going to evaluate our employees' performance. According to psychologist opinion, the feedback of the performance is the frequency or closer feedback is more effective. Feedback of this session at the end of the session, it is very effective. Feedback for this session at the end of the semester is less effective. Feedback of this subject at the end of your fourth year is more less effective for you. But it is when we considering about the time factor and cost factor, the management may decide annual performance evaluation. Practically most of the organization at least do the performance evaluation annually. But according to the psychologist opinion, the feedback on the performance should give the frequently. It is more effective to get the development, to get the management purpose, to achieve the management purposes and the informative purpose. It is all about the policies of performance evaluation. Up to this point, we discussed what is policies, and then we move to the HR policies. Policies are the general guidelines to action. Then HR policies, general guidelines to managing people at the organization. Performance evaluation policies are the general guidelines or continuing guidelines to evaluate employees' performance. Under the performance evaluation policies, there are 4 major issues we should address. Under these all 4 issues, we discuss one by one the possible alternatives for the issues. The first one is on whom should do the performance evaluation: permanent employees, temporary employees, casual employees, managerial employees, non-managerial employees. Likewise, there are several categories can do the performance evaluation, but the best option is to evaluate all the employees of the organization is the best approach. Then the timing issue is there are 3 options: fixed time approach, the arbitrary date approach, and job cycle approach. When should do the performance evaluation? In fixed time approach, we decided these are the certain time period, the fixed certain time period. Then we evaluate the employee's performance at that certain time period. That may depends on the sometime that may 1 day or 1 week, 2 weeks, or sometime 1 month. It is depending on the span of control of the superior. Arbitrary data approach, it means the multiple time approach. The performance evaluation is done at the different times. Basically, the option is anniversary date. Employee A was hired at the 1st of January. Therefore, their performance, his or her performance, are evaluated at the 1st of January of each year. Then the job cycle approach we discussed with the practical example. After completing its duties of the job, we evaluate. It is another option to when should do the performance evaluation. Then the possible, we discuss the who should do the performance evaluation. There are several options: immediate superior, superior, several superiors, committee, self-evaluation, peers, customer or client. Likewise, there are several options. We discuss one by one with the advantages and disadvantages of all the possible options. Then, as the last part, we discuss the possible alternatives for how often should do the performance evaluation. It may be annually, biannually, quarterly, monthly, bi-weekly, weekly, or daily. But some managers decide annually or biannually do the performance evaluation because of the time and cost factors. These are the review questions you can answer by using the knowledge you gain through this session. Describe the requirement of well-defined fee policies. What is policies? The HR policies, the requirement of performance evaluation policies. Performance evaluation policies are essential part to do the fair evaluation. Describe and explain the possible alternatives on whom performance evaluation can be done. The permanent employees only, permanent and temporary employees only, all the employees, including casual employees. Then we can managerial employees and non-managerial employees. Third one is describe and explain the fixed time approach, arbitrary rate approach, and job cycle approach. We discuss one by one with the advantages and disadvantages and with the practical example. Describe and explain the possible alternatives on who should do the performance evaluation from the immediate superior to combination method. We discuss one by one. You can answer this question by using that knowledge. How often should do the performance evaluation? We discuss one by one and the several options. According to psychologist's opinion, we discuss what is the best option to do the performance evaluation. It is all about the policies of performance evaluation. Thank you very much to participate for this session.